Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday, March 14th. Welcome to No Icing. How's everybody doing? How's the weather by you, wherever you are? And hello to the replay people if you're watching um, tomorrow or whatever day it is near you in your country. We wish you well and we thank you for watching the replay. And how's everybody doing? Let me know in the comments, chat, how you're doing. I have a special guest tonight. I put it, it's in the intro. I put some details in the intro so that everybody can figure it out. Because, sometimes it's just easier. You have all the information right there. Bam. It's wonderful. Isn't technology great? Anyway, Rory is on his way. He's trying to get here. He's I don't know what the weather's like in Florida. He was with Carrie Harrison earlier. So I think he's driving back. Hopefully the weather's good. Hopefully he's driving safely and he'll get to see us as soon as he can. And so without further ado, let me introduce to you he's been on the show before, Billy Vera. Let me bring him up. He's so amazing. I know you're going to love him. If you haven't seen him, you can watch some of the other shows, but it's always good to catch up with Billy and hear all the wonderful things he's working on. So let's bring him up. Hello.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, how are you?
Great. How you doing, girl?
Doing good, doing good. I was in the hospital a couple of days ago, but
oh wow, what happened?
Spent the night in the hospital with no, I just had really severe headache and I never experienced anything like that before. So we just want to go get it all checked out,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay now.
Yes. It's still there a little bit, they said just take some Tylenol, but it's just getting adjusted from like a night and you don't sleep in the hospital. You got to get adjusted.
They can put you to.
Oh yeah, they had me on some pain medicine too. They had me on an IV and everything. It was crazy. But I'm here. I was excited. I was like, I gotta get better. Billy Vera is gonna be on my show.
Look out.
And I saw you on Rory's show recently. That was cool.
Yeah, that was fun. We did a sort of a run through of the movie Buckaroo Banzai.
Yes.
We went through the whole thing, and it was a lot of fun. All different kind of questions. The whole thing was focused on the movie.
Wow.
Which is kind of different for me.
Yeah. Yeah, Rory's that movie's has a lot of followers, especially on the YouTube channel. He's doing really well with that one. I'm proud of him.
It's a funny thing, that Buckaroo Banzai, it flopped when it came out, and I think the main problem with it was the studio. They expected a huge hit, so they made the director chop off a half hour from the movie, and of course that crammed everything close together, so that there was no room for the jokes to breathe. And so what happened was, when it finally came out on video, then that people could stop and go back and say, what did he say? What did he say? And then they were able to get the jokes. So it became a #1 hit on video.
Wow.
Yeah, go figure. And I'll tell you, that's almost 40 years ago now, and people still, they want to know. And so many, great people came out of that movie: Ellen Barkin, Peter Weller, Jeff Goldblum, Christopher Lloyd, John Lithgow. I mean, just tons of people that went on to really good careers.
Yeah, no doubt. Look at you.
Even me.
I mean, look at you. I mean, yeah, like you're living proof.
Yeah. Living long. In fact, I got a birthday coming up in May. Going to make the big 80, baby.
What?
Yeah.
Get out of here. You're lying.
Mm-mm.
You're lying.
I've been doing show business almost that many years.
Wow.
Because my parents were in show business. I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
My dad was an announcer on NBC for about 30 some years. And my mom was a singer. And the most notable thing she did, she was in the Ray Charles Singers that backed up a Perry Como show on television and records as well. Yeah. So it was good.
Wait a minute. Was it you that told me were you on the set with Frank Sinatra? Was it you? Did you ever do any movies with him?
What happened? There is a connection though with my mother. When she was starting out, she left home and ended up in Cleveland. She was playing a nightclub in Cleveland when she was about 18 years old, and this was during the war, World War II. And one night, young, just became a star, Frank Sinatra came in, and he asked if he could take her home. So I said, Ma, I said, did he hit on you? What happened? She said, oh no, he was the perfect gentleman. And this is her exact words. She said, he didn't try any funny stuff. So
yeah, I knew that you have a connection with that. And also, was it you were friends with Nancy, right?
No, what had happened was I made friends with another songwriter, Larry Brown, L. Russell Brown, who wrote a lot of hits, Knock 3 Times, Tie a Yellow Ribbon, all these big hits. And he suggested,
Tony?
Yeah, well, for Tony, yeah. Larry Brown was his name. And
Larry Brown. Oh, wait, he wrote the songs?
He wrote the songs, yeah. Yeah,
Tony and Don Orlando.
Yeah, Tony never wrote anything.
Wow.
But in those days, singers were singers and songwriters were songwriters.
Right.
So one day he decided he wanted to be a producer, and he got a job to produce Nancy Sinatra. And I was over his house. He said, why don't we write something for Nancy? He said, look, I got to take my wife to the beauty parlor. He said, why don't you start something while we'll finish it when I get back. So by the time he got back, I had finished the song, and he loved it. And he said he was going to play it for her, and she didn't like the song. So he got mad, and he said, listen, he said, this is a #1 song if I ever heard one. He says, you got to do something with it. So my friend had a little country band, and he had a girl singer in there, and she had a nice voice, but she was lazy. So we recorded her. I mean, these girls that she had to read the words off of a card, when she was on stage. So anyway, we took her in the studio, and she didn't didn't do a great job on the song. So everywhere we took it, they said, "Love the song, hate the girl. Love the song, hate the girl." Finally, the last guy on my list, he said, "Love the song, hate the girl, but we're recording Dolly Parton next week. Let me have the song for her." I said, "You bet, you got it." So I let him have it, and that became my first #1 hit.
Wow.
Well, I really got the feeling.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Gives me goosebumps thinking about it.
So I was glad that Nancy turned it down, because Dolly really sang it well.
Dolly Parton.
She's the greatest. She's maybe the nicest person I ever met in show business.
Wow.
Just like you see her on television. She's that kind of funny, nice girl.
Yes. I love that story you told me. You told us about when you met Dolly in the closet and the shoes.
That was yeah. Right after she recorded the song, I get a phone call from her assistant saying, "Dolly would love to meet the man who wrote that beautiful song." And so I was living in New York at the time, at my mother's house, like any loser musician, and so we figured out when Dolly was going to be playing as close to New York as possible. So it turned out it was in Maryland. So I drive down to Maryland. My daughter was 12. I took her with me for a daddy-daughter little road trip. And Dolly had this, one of those big buses like the country singers all have. And so she invited us to hang out with her in the bus until she went on stage.
Wow.
So yeah, we hung out, and she was a riot, man. She was so nice to my kid. She noticed that she was looking at all the shoes on this shelf. And she says, "You like them shoes, honey?" I said, she said, "Yeah, they're cool." She says, "You know where I got them? I got them at the Goodwill, $6 a pair."
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, she was funny.
I love her.
Oh, you gotta love Dolly. I mean, everybody loves Dolly. My God.
I love watching her old interviews too.
Oh yeah, she was
a great person to interview, from what I.
Oh, perfect. She's got an answer for everything, and she's just hilarious. She's great.
That's amazing. Oh, I wanted to show, if it's okay with you, I don't know, I'll probably get away with a little clip, maybe without, I don't want to get copyright muted, because it's your music, so, and it's your copyrighted music, so I don't want to get us muted, but I want to show the audience that may not have heard you before. And one of my favorite videos, I love is watching the whole thing today. I had to watch the whole thing. I just love it so much. I love the animation. I love the characters in it. Hold on, let me see if I could show. It's A Room with a View.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So is it okay if I show the audience a little bit of it without us getting muted?
I'm not going to tell anybody.
I won't tell anybody. Okay. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. We'll go. Okay. Let's see. Go over here.
That'd be a song for me. I had a lot of records. A lot of people recorded it. Lou Rawls, Eric Burden from the Animals. Just a whole bunch of people recorded it.
Is it on? I'm on your official Billy Vera channel on YouTube right now. Is it on under there under videos? Or I'll go back.
Should be, yeah. Or if you just type in Billy Vera Room with a View on your YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
that's what I did today, and it came
Yeah.
right up. Let me see. And that one with Tony Middleton.
Oh, that's
You know what I'm
me and
talking
him.
about?
Well, that's not the one. No.
Wait, hold on. Oh, I found. No,
You
that's
should.
not the one, but hold on. I lost your sound for a second.
Oh,
Okay, here it is. Let's see, I gotta make it a little louder. Here we go. Wait a minute. Can you hear it?
no.
Okay.
I got a room.
Oh, there it is.
With a view. I got a house full of troubles and a room with a view of the blues. No pictures on my walls, just a ceiling above my head. No rugs on my floor, no pillow on my bed. I got a room.
I love this.
I got a room with a view. Got a house full of troubles in a room with a view. These old walls.
Let me fast forward it. I don't want to get muted. I love what to the end.
I got a room. I got a room with a view.
Let me go to the end. I love this part, the end.
Don't know what my baby's trying to do to me. I got a room. I got a room with a view.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Good. I'm glad.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
So
you.
yeah,
You
if anybody wants to look up Billy Vera, you'll find all his cool stuff there. I just didn't want to get us copyrighted. I didn't want to show the whole. I want to show the whole thing, but then I'm like, oh man, it's gonna get us dinged.
Yeah, they'll come after you, man. Throw you in jail.
Yep. So that was the Tony you were just talking about. That was that the same Tony or a different Tony? The one that was in that video before A Room with the View.
I don't know which other video you're talking about. Tony Middleton.
Middleton, yeah.
The only thing I got with me and him, it was just a little joke thing we did backstage. We were singing some jazz song together, so it's nothing your audience want to hear unless they know me and they know my sense of humor. So yeah, you don't want to show that, I don't think.
I'm pretty sure they want to hear it. Let's see. What do you say, chat? Does anybody want to hear it? What do you say in the audience? I know I do. Hold on. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Make sure my sound is not there. Okay. I want to hear it. Tell us. Oh, the chat said sure. Yes. See, the chat said yes too.
All right. Well, we got to listen to what Chad says. I think Chad is our audience tonight.
There's a few. There's a few.
Oh, good, good.
Oh, let me see who's that. Chat says, is he excited about going to Italy? Good
I
questions.
I sure
Who-
am very excited. I've never been there. So yeah, they're going to give me an award, which is why they're bringing me over. I don't know what the award is for, but they're giving me something. But it's in northern Italy. So everybody I know is from southern Italy, but so it'll be a different kind of people. They're northern Italians and southern Italians are very, very different from each.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
which part are you going to?
we're going to northern Italy,
Northern, like Naples?
up near no way northern, up near Bologna.
Northern, more northern than Bologna.
Yeah,
You're going to Bologna.
right.
That's gonna be amazing. Who's going
Yeah,
with you?
I'm bringing my driver with me, who can kind of he's more well traveled than I am, so he can sort of walk me through the kind of things that I don't really understand. So I didn't want to go by myself.
Yeah, no, you gotta go with the travel buddy. You need a travel buddy.
Yeah,
That
man.
sounds awesome. And I
Yeah.
wonder what the award is. You don't have any clue.
I think it's sweet soul music, sweet soul artist or something like that.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
Yeah, and apparently it's a big deal of a festival, from what I'm told.
Yeah.
So it's
Yep.
really, really excited, man.
Yeah,
Correct.
my family was from northern Italy, from Naples area. I'd never been.
Yeah,
Never been
Naples is
there.
middle. It's Naples is about halfway up the middle, and Poretta or Bologna and all those, Venice and all that. That's up the real far north. So,
Have you been to Italy before though?
I never have. No, I've
Really?
always. No, I never been.
What? This is your first time with all your Italian friends.
I know. I grew up. Everybody's Italian, But like I said, everybody I grew up with, they're either Sicilian or Calabrese or Abruzzese, Napolitan like you. So
Well, my family's Irish too. It's like I'm like a European mix. So
yeah,
um
too.
but my my husband's Sicilian, his family's Sicilian, and I grew up around all the Sicilians in New York. So everybody I know is Sicilian, but my grandmother from Italy, she didn't speak English, and she died when I was a baby. I never got to know her or taste her cooking or anything like that. So I wish I could have learned that side of my family though. It would be
Oh,
nice to go there. I've never been. I would love to go one day.
yeah, well, I'll let you know how I like it. My Sicilian friends are all telling me. They said, now be careful how you talk up in the north. He said they don't like Southern Italians in northern Italy. He said so don't talk all that that gutter guinea talk. So
That's how they don't like each. They make fun of each other, and
yeah,
like I think my husband's father told him, don't ever marry a Napoli Don. But yeah, so and the Napoli Dons say don't ever marry a Sicilian. It's like they say the same thing about each other. It's just like
believe me, I grew up with that. One of my childhood memories, my girlfriend, when I was in high school, she was the most beautiful girl in White Plains, and her father hated all guys because he had two beautiful daughters.
yeah.
But the father liked me because my mother was on television with Perry Como, a nice Italian boy. and because I was hip enough to talk to him about Sinatra, who he idolized. So one night I go over to pick her up to go to the movies or something, and I'm in the living room talking to him about Sinatra while she's in the back, getting beautiful. So all of a sudden the doorbell rings, and this kid from up the street comes to pick up her sister, her younger sister. And the father recognizes the kid. And now the father was Napolitan, and they were in Calabrese, so they didn't go for Sicilians, And so the father, at the top of his lungs, says, "Rosalie, what the hell are you thinking in here? Bringing this Sicilian into our home of all places. Why don't you bring home a Moulignat while you're at it?" So meanwhile, we're all like cringing, because this is so vulgar,
Yes.
And the mother's like biting her thumb, and oh my God, everybody's so embarrassed. And the poor kid, he's practically in tears, It was just, looking back, it's hilarious, but I felt so bad for the poor kid.
My best friend from New York, we used to do hair together, and
Yeah.
I mean, she's still, I just talked to her and her family the other day. She's still one of my best friends in the whole world. I love her so much. And I was in her wedding, beautiful Sicilian family. I love them so much. I was in her wedding, all Italian girls in this wedding. And then here's me with my platinum blonde hair back, and this was like 27 years ago or something. And she's like, I'm like the one white girl and all these just Sicilian girls with the dark black long curly hair and so like just remember her father he loves me so much. He used to tell me, "Sandy, anytime you want to come into my house, you come to my house. I feed you, you're hungry, you're tired, you can sleep on my couch, no problem. Anytime." He says, mangiati and everything, I feed you, you come sleep. He says, one thing, don't ever ask me is not to pay for your wedding. Don't gonna ask me to pay for your wedding. You're like my daughter. He's like, you're like my daughter, but don't ask me to pay for your wedding. So I'm like, of course, 100%. Thank you for everything. And like, I would go there and they would feed me like nonstop, like stuffed, beautiful. They used to have their own pizzeria, and then they retired. And then, oh my gosh, the beautiful food that they would serve me. They're like, I never had stuffed artichokes in my life. My family cooked like American food as a kid. So, boring, not all this good Italian stuff. So I just got my Italian heritage from all my friends, but especially this family, because they took me in like their daughter. He said, "Just don't ask me to pay for your wedding." I said, "No problem." And I'm still friends with them to this day. They don't let their daughters out of the house. So it's amazing, like your story, and then your story was a decade before that. So they didn't let those girls are lucky their father even let them step foot out of the house. Most Italian families, I used to sit in a driveway with my friend Josephine, and she would be crying hysterical because her father would let her younger brother go out at night, but she wasn't allowed out at night because she was a girl.
Yeah,
right. It was their only daughter, so she wasn't allowed. I used to sit and she would cry in the driveway. I'm like, "What now?" And she'd be like, "My father won't let me go anywhere." And she was like,
well, you have to understand this family. The mother was one of 7 sisters, and and they were very strong women. They owned a little one of those little crummy little grocery stores, and so the father, as tough as he was nothing up against the 7 sisters, the Barbaro sisters, and plus they had all married real bad guys. And meanwhile, the last 2 years I went back home and performed at my high school, and all my friends, all my Italian friends were there. We had a beautiful theater where I went to high school, 1,000 seats. I mean, people like Alan Alda and John Voight went to my high school, and so I see all these guys, and some of these guys were criminals that I grew up with, really bad guys.
Yes.
But the funny thing about him now is this one used to be a bookie. Now he goes to church every Sunday. This other guy was a dope dealer, and now he goes to church every Sunday. They cleaned up their act, these guys, but they're still tough guys the same way. Like my one friend, he looks like he's half Sicilian and half something else. And he always saw himself as my protector. And so he still sees himself that way. And he's like 5 years older than me, 4 or 5 years older than me. And I said, Kevin, I said, you don't need to protect me anymore, man. Because after the show, I was selling my CDs and merchandise. And he's standing right next to me like he did when we were young, And that's how these guys are, there, because they love you forever.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't care what you become, how famous you become.
Right.
To them, you're still Billy from the block.
Yeah, your family.
Yeah,
you break
family.
bread. You're breaking bread. When you break bread, it changes things. When you break bread.
This one mother that we called her Aunt V, Vittoria. And she was one of the 7 Barbaro sisters. And she used to make this broth, clear broth with little tiny meatballs about the size of your thumbnail.
Yes.
And it was one of the most delicious things I ever had in my life. So anyway, years and years later, I was back in New York. I was producing a Lou Rawls record and this guy, Larry Brown, who was from Newark, New Jersey, he came to the recording sessions. So he said, I'll give you a ride back where you're staying. I said, well, I'm going the opposite direction, Larry. He said, I don't care. I like to drive. So we get up to White Plains, and I said, and he's talking about where he grew up in the projects. He was the last white family to leave the Seth Borden projects in Newark. And so I said, well, I said, you want to see where I grew up? He said, yeah. So we pulled off and we drive up to Russell Street, which was this really tough street. All the badass guys were there. Babe Telesco, Butch Futia, Sal Pellegrino, all these badass guys. So we pull up to this one house. I said, how much you want to bet if I go up here and knock on the door, this old lady's going to come to the door. She'll be like in a one of those old ladies. Yeah, right.
The moo.
And she'll invite us in. So I knock on the door. She said, Billy, how the hell are you, kid? Who's your friend? You hungry? Come on in. And she fed us, and she started telling Billy Vera stories. For the next hour and a half. And it was just a wonderful thing. You don't get that out here in California. You don't have friends. That's all I got.
No, it's true. I mean, it depends on your family. Like my cousin that was born in New York, she grew up out here in California, and she married a Greek man. So now I have this Greek family, through marriage. And they're a lot like Italians. They're very much like, they carry certain things are very important in life, to very similar, just a little bit of a different church. Italians are, Roman Catholic, and the Greeks are Orthodox, Greek Orthodox. So, but the traditions and the mentality very similar to Italians.
Yeah. Well, my friend's grandfather, I think it was, Danny Santoro, his grandfather brought all these illegals from southern Italy. And a lot of those people were like stonemasons. They were really good with with stones and stuff like that. And they were building a dam up our way. This is back in the 1920s, I guess. And they were also building the Merritt Parkway with all these beautiful stone bridges across the parkway. And all the Italians built that shit, but they were here illegally. So Danny's grandfather had bought this entire long block in the Italian section, and so they all had to rent their apartments from him, and they had to buy all their groceries and stuff from this little tiny store that he owned. And then there was a special church at the corner there, Our Lady of the Assumption. Now, the legal Italians and the working class Italian, the guys who worked in the gas station or whatever, they built a beautiful, beautiful big church, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. I mean, just a gorgeous church. But these Italian immigrants had to go to this little tiny, 2-bit church on the corner, because even within that group, the Italians, there was a separation, you see. So it was really an interesting place to grow up,
Oh,
And
hi, Rory.
I didn't want to interrupt. He was on a roll. I'm sorry I'm late to the party. I got back late from Sarasota.
I'm
Well-
glad you made it safe, Rory.
You're now, brother.
Me too. So good to see you as always, sir.
Mom was asking about you today too. She was wondering if you had a show today.
No, I went over to photograph the Ringling Museum over there in Sarasota, and I stopped by to see Carrie Harrison for lunch because we're doing a
I
show
know.
together
Okay,
now.
that was awesome. I saw the pictures.
So, yeah,
Great.
that was nice to see him. I hadn't seen him in 33 years face to face, but yeah, we're doing a show together. So
And
I-
Stephen
I'll do
Edwards
that.
says hi from Billy. Hi to Billy from the UK, please. Hi,
Oh.
Stephen.
Hello, Stephen.
Billy
Yeah,
follows
he's had
you.
a lot of good comments here. Stephen has.
He follows you, Billy.
I'm happy to know that. I got friends over there in the record collecting community in Great Britain.
Wow.
Yeah, I write. In fact, I write articles. I've written dozens of articles for this British museum magazine called Blues and Rhythm.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes, a man
Very
of many.
tribal.
Man of many hats, many talents.
Hey, Rory, I watched the show either night before last. It really was fun.
Well, we try to have fun with it. We do.
Yeah.
So, but I was glad you got to tell us a lot of good stories about Buckaroo Banzai. That was that was the main reason why we wanted to do it.
Well, it really worked.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun, as expected.
Yeah.
And I got to do my Jeff Goldblum impersonation. Yeah. No, maybe. Yes. No. That's always fun.
Yeah. And you do it so well.
Thank you.
Was it Planet Claire? She's been in chat and she's coming up as Facebook user, but I just saw that it's Planet Claire, and she said in the future she wants to know how your trip to Italy was. Yeah, so like now Billy was talking about his trip to Italy, Rory, so now we're all jammed up.
One of my favorite places over there. I've been to Europe a few times, and yeah, oh man, I got to go back to Florence though.
That's
There's
in
so much.
yeah.
There's so much in Florence I didn't see the first time I went. I haven't been to the Uffizi, so I again, I love art, and that was one of the places that really kind of jump started my my full blown love of art. I mean, I liked art before, but when I went there to Italy and saw the art everywhere, everywhere you turn, and I saw the statue of David that was out in the square there, but it wasn't the real one. The real one had been moved into the Uffizi, so it was a copy. And today in at the Ringling Garden, there was another copy of it, which I saw, but it just didn't seem the same to me.
Ain't nothing like the real thing, I believe Marvin and Tammy.
Yeah.
Ain't
Yeah.
nothing like the real thing, baby.
Yeah, I've had people say they looked at David and they could see veins, in his arms and his neck and stuff. It looks like it's pulsing. I mean, it really looks very realistic. So
That's about as realistic as you could get.
yeah. So
And-
I gotta go back and see the real one, and I want to see what's the painting with the seashell?
Oh, I know the one you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say Aphrodite, but that's not it. It's she's coming out of the seashell, and the other
Yeah. Venus.
Venus. There we go, Venus.
Right.
Birth of Venus. That's it. Birth of Venus.
Oh, so that's cool, Billy. Wait, and did you know that his birthday's coming up, Rory?
He mentioned that on the other show.
May
Yeah.
20,
Yeah,
20th?
May
Happy
28th,
birthday.
1940.
28th. Okay.
The 28th.
Bento Ultra.
Wow.
So, anything special planned for that birthday?
We're going to do 2 shows.
Mhm.
You familiar with Los Angeles at all?
A little bit.
All
I've
right,
been several times.
we're going to do one in the Valley
Mhm.
at a nightclub called the Write-Off Room, named for the obvious reason. The guy was doing a tax write-off. And the other one is down by Seal Beach, which is at the southern end of LA, right before Orange County. So we'll
Okay.
get 2 different audiences. And so, yeah, but they'll be on the 25th and 26th of May. So that'll be fun. And of course, Italy, I'm going over there to receive an award at the Porretta Soul Music Festival.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So that'll be
In
cool.
Bologna. He's going to Bologna.
Bologna.
Going
Yeah.
to Bologna.
Yeah, going to Bologna. So, I mean, Sandy and I were talking about Southern versus Northern Italians. And,
Mhm.
I like Sandy, I grew up around Southern Italians. And so we view that Northern cooking as that orange shit. But that's okay. I'm sure the food there will be wonderful.
Salty. It's salty.
Yeah.
That
It's,
orange
I think
much
a lot of
cheese.
it, doesn't a lot of it go back to like the farming wars, whose family, made better whole wheat, and I think it probably somehow that war became between, original farmers of
Well,
Italy.
they always find something to argue about.
Yeah, that's true. Could
That's
be
how it
grapes. They're probably fighting over grapes and wine or garlic or something.
Yeah, and in the South, it's more poor people down there.
Uh-huh.
Like in Abruzzo, it's very mountainous, and you could live 10 miles from somebody, and the dialect will be so different that it's almost a different
Oh.
language.
Yeah.
They understand each other. And I was telling Sandy before, or maybe you walked in on that. My friend's grandfather imported a lot of illegals to build this dam.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. Repeat myself for our lovely viewers. But I didn't want to
Yes,
leave you out.
thanks for tuning in.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same in the UK as well. You go to different parts of the UK and people talk very differently.
Oh, yeah.
Scotland, they say things differently. In Ireland, they say things differently. And even in regions in England, it's like they can't understand each other.
Well, with the television and radio, especially in America, the notion of regional dialects is out the window. I mean, I always had a very good ear for dialect, and I could tell when I was younger. I could tell within 5 miles of where you were from where you were from.
You were like the Henry Higgins of Italy. There you go.
Because people were very what's the word I'm looking for? They were not regional. That they were
Territorial.
well, that's another and another potential problem. They like for a while I lived in the Bronx when I was young, and they would say, "Well, where are you from?" I said, "Well, I'm from White Plains." White Plains? You mean White Plains Road? I said, no, White Plains. It's a city of 200,000 people. It's 20 minutes from here. Oh, really? Provincial is the word I'm looking for.
There you go.
These people were very provincial. They didn't know what was happening 20 minutes away.
Yeah. Well, even Stephen here is saying the dialects, the accents are different 10 miles away from here in England, he says.
Yeah.
So.
See, yeah, he knows.
Yeah, I could always tell someone if they were from Boston, growing up from New York. I can tell if someone's from Boston.
Well, Boston's a very thick.
Or New Jersey. I could always tell if someone's
very broad accent, Boston.
From New Jersey or Boston. Those are different. To me, those are all different accents. To me.
Walk the dog and park the car.
Park the car on the wow.
Yeah.
John Voight does a perfect Boston accent in Ray Donovan. Just perfect. But yeah.
It's the same in China. There are 7 different dialects in China as well, and they don't understand each other.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's also a very large company.
Yes.
But as I say, as television has as television has become ubiquitous, everybody talks like Johnny Carson now, no matter where you're.
Well, that's wild. That's wild.
Coffee.
That's right. Yeah.
So I wanted to know if you have you're on a radio show.
I am
through San Diego.
In fact, my 100th show will be on this week. I'm on a station called KSDS in San Diego.
100th show.
My 100th show will be on this week, and what I do is I record them.
Yes.
I record 4 at once.
Okay.
The intros and outros of the songs, and then I give them a playlist of what I'm going to play, and then they find the songs and they plug them in. So I can do 4 2-hour shows in an hour and a half. It's very easy work.
Wow.
And I play music that's how do I describe it? If we were to walk into a black bar or restaurant in 1949, 1950, before rock and roll came, this is the music you would hear on the jukebox. So it's partly blues, it's partly jazz, but from that particular period of time, and I always felt that was a period that's been neglected in the history books. So, you might hear Dinah Washington or Billie Holiday or Charlie Parker, or you might hear B.B. King, because see, in those days, music wasn't so fragmented the way it is today. I mean, today you have a radio station that plays nothing but Sinatra, so it's gotten that bad, or not that bad, but that, striated, or whatever the word I'm looking for. And so in those days, especially black people would listen to
segregated music,
all kinds segregated, but all within that genre of black music. It would be like today you wouldn't hear jazz and rhythm and blues at the same time on the same station, but back then you did, and it would all be on the jukebox. and whoever put the nickel in, that's who would be choosing the songs. So I do that, and it's a lot of fun. People love the show, and
Awesome.
yeah.
So it's at 6 p.m. this Saturday, March 16th. March 16th is this Saturday.
6 p.m. On Pacific time, 9
Yeah.
p.m. on Eastern time.
I want to tune in. 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. Well, write it down. It's jazz88.org/S as in Sam, N as in nincompoop, FF as in Frank. So, and you can hear it any time of day or night. You don't have to listen when it's on, because they have all the shows, all 100 shows are on the archives. So you can go back to any show you want.
I'm gonna type it in the thing. It's JS.
Jazz, no. JAZZ, jazz88.org/SNFF as Saturday Night Fish Fry.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. .com
or snuff.
No, .org. Jazz88.org.
.org. Okay. Oh,
Sniff.
got it. Yep. Okay, hold on. Jazz88.org/ Okay, got it. Okay, I'm
Yes,
putting
Andy.
it in the comment. Putting it in the
Cool.
chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to check it out. Now, can any callers call in or no? It's pre-recorded.
The shows are all pre-recorded.
Okay.
So
That would be cool if we could call and be like, hey, Billy, this is Sandy and Rory over at Cosmos.
Yeah, that's the one thing I miss about doing the show this way. But, that's technology, modern technology.
Understood.
Got
Just cranking them out.
Crank them out, baby. But the trick is you got to make it sound like you're talking to them right then and there.
Right.
And
That's tricky.
Yeah, I'm good at it.
You are?
I
mean, like, what's the trick? What is there a secret recipe?
just imagine that you're talking to one person. And you say, as if you were just talking to one person, and that's how you get the intimacy.
I like that.
Yeah. That way you're not overdoing it, overblowing it. So yeah.
And next up, we've got.
Yeah, you don't want to.
You want to do that over the top radio voice?
No. That's it. I used
That
to love.
was Howlin' Wolf.
When I was a kid, we had great radio disc jockeys, and Alan Freed, of course, was in New York, and he was the guy that brought rock and roll to the fore, as they say.
Yeah.
And he was like Arthur Godfrey. How are you? How are Arthur Godfrey with Lipton tea? And Alan Freed had that same thing. You felt like he was only talking to you. And but we also had a guy on the black station named Jocko. "E-titty-ock, go," says Jock. "I'm back on the scene with the records machine saying, 'Who poppy do? How do you do? Hiya, big bad rocket. Way up here in the stratosphere, you got to holler mighty loud and clear. And when we start to shake, we're going to cause an earthquake. When all of the jocks are laughing and joking, Jocko's on the stage, cooking and smoking. Ho, Jocko!" That was his
I love
shtick,
that.
which he stole from a guy in Baltimore named Hot Rod Hulbert. How's that for a name? Maurice
I love
Hot Hulbert.
Maurice.
I bet he got all the ladies with that name.
How about Hot Rod?
They knew how to name kids back in those days,
That's the name. That's the name of the guy your mother tells you don't ever date a guy named that.
Yeah,
Hot Rod.
yeah. No, that was.
Hold on. What?
Well, if you listen, if
You have to wait.
a lot of black mothers named their kids, supposedly respectable names like Clarence, names that would get you beat up in school.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So you had to have a nickname. Wardell. This is my friend Wardell. Today it would be, this is my friend Jamal.
There you go.
It's
Yeah.
the same shtick, different era.
Yeah. Well, you know what they called me in high school?
I don't know if I want to, but go ahead.
They called me white girl in high school.
Gee, I
Hey,
wonder-
white girl.
yeah, here come white girl slinging that blonde hair around.
It
Sling that.
affected
No,
her so much. She went out to California and became a surfer.
No,
Sling
my hair has changed so many times. I've had every color you could think of, I think.
Sling that hair,
Except plaid.
white girl.
Hold on a second. I'm on my live show.
Oh my God, this is like Robert De Niro in King of,
You have to wait.
right?
She wants
Rory?
a book.
Little bit.
De
Yeah.
Niro's character-
Little bit.
remember De Niro's character in King of Comedy?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm doing my show down here, Mom.
Is it Puffkin or
Rupert Pupkin.
Pumpkin?
That was one of my favorite movies.
My audience, Mom. They're watching my show.
Yeah. Oh, it was such a sick movie. I loved it.
No,
Yeah.
because you have to wait.
That skanky comedian that used to hang around when Madonna was in there. What's her name?
Oh, Bernhardt, Sandra Bernhardt.
Yeah.
What happened to her?
She remember when she pressed her face up against the window of his limousine,
Yeah.
trying to get in, and then she had him tied up in some fakakta room.
Yeah.
Oh, God, what a sick movie! I love it.
Again, I don't know what the hell happened to her. She was awesome. I
She
used to
was-
love her.
She was really funny. I was at during the peak of my so-called career, I was managed by a man named Sandy Gallen. Sandy Gallen managed Dolly and Neil Diamond and Whoopi and all these people. And I was like the low man on the totem pole. But
You diamond.
yeah, but I would get invited to his Christmas party every year, and all the A-list people would be there. And I'm shy at parties, I'd sit at the bar and drink a Pepsi. And but meanwhile, then there's when it was food time to eat. This whole even they had a line, and Sandra Bernard and Madonna would try to cut in the line, and that would piss me off so much. I wanted to slap them. I mean, you don't do that, especially if you're a big star. That's when you're supposed to be at least pretend to be humble. You can't even pretend to be humble.
Yeah, you can't cut in line and shave those armpits, huh? Come on.
Yeah. Bitch, get off the fucking line.
I gotta send you. I got a friend that lives out there. Her name's Kim Donovan, and she used to do great characters here in Florida. I have to send you a picture she did when she dressed up as Madonna one year.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's so funny. She even has the tooth gap.
It's
hysterical.
that same party, I'm sitting at the bar sipping a Pepsi, and this woman comes up to me and she said, "Hey, Billy, Bob would like a word with you."
Mhm.
And I look over her shoulder, and the Bob in question is a certain Mr. Dillon.
Okay.
Had never met.
Yeah, I like your stuff. It's really good.
Well, the first thing he said, he said nothing about my music, by the way, but he loved my act. He loved my acting. He thought I was a great actor.
You were great in that Buckaroo Banzai, man. I love that movie.
And even cooler than that, though, was, and this is what endeared him to me. He said, I love that you put out those 2 Percy Mayfield albums. Now, if you don't know who Percy Mayfield is, he's the guy that wrote Hit the Road Jack
Right.
and Please Send Me Some of the greatest songwriter in the history of the blues, Percy Mayfield. And I knew him.
Oh.
Anyway, I put together these actually 3 CDs
Mhm.
of his greatest recordings of himself as a singer. Go back to 1950, 51, around that period. So we spend the next 2 hours, 2.5 hours, me and Dylan, talking about Percy Mayfield.
Percy.
He says, you were right when you called him the poet of the blues. And meanwhile, all these A-list schmucks were coming up, Madonna, Ryan and Farrah. I mean, all these A-list people. He didn't want to talk to them. They were coming up to kiss the ring of the great Bob Dylan, and he's blowing them off. I mean,
I'm having a serious conversation here. Leave me alone.
Look, hey, talk to Billy Vera about Percy Mayfield. Blow off, bitch. So finally, after 2.5 hours of this, scintillating conversation about the great Percy Mayfield, who I idolize, by the way.
Yes.
He suddenly stands up. He says, "Man, Trent, I'm starting to fade, man. Got to split." And he goes home. Apparently,
fade.
Listen to Percy Mayfield until he went to sleep. I don't. But that was.
When I see your feeds on Facebook and Instagram and things like that, you show the records, the old records that you've collected and stuff. I mean, it's evident that there's more to you than just your own music. That you really have a love for the classic jazz and rhythm and blues and other music from the golden era and before. Even.
Well, I will tell you something. Every great artist I've ever known, and I've known a few, everyone have had heroes.
No.
Only so I left with the convinced that only the mediocre do not have heroes. You know what I mean?
I understand. Yeah.
Because the inability to have a hero means you don't have the humility to ever conceive that there's someone that's greater than your little narcissistic self.
Yeah. There you go.
And
so it's healthy. It's healthy to have a hero, is what you're saying.
Oh, again, it's passing it down. Keeping it alive.
I did a movie with Willie Nelson called Baja, Oklahoma, and so we hung out, and I always ask people, who is your biggest influence? Who is your hero? And he says he's a wise old guy who's stoned out of his mind, but as
but he would expect.
Yeah, he says, you're a pretty hip guy. He says, I bet you know who my hero was. So I said, Tommy Duncan. Tommy Duncan was the lead singer of Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys.
Okay.
Oh.
And Willie said, you got it.
You nailed it.
Wow.
The reason I knew that was because Tommy Duncan, even though he was singing that Texas version of Western swing music, it was he had a jazz sensibility in his country singing, just like Willie did.
Wow.
And Willie was great. We did a scene in this place called Billy Bob's in Fort Worth, gigantic nightclub that takes up an entire city block. And we had about 1,000 extras. And so it came time for dinner break. And Willie says to me, he says, man, he says, these people have been standing around here all day. He says, we ought to do a couple of tunes for them. So he got up and sang with the Beaters, with my band.
Yeah.
For an hour.
Oh, wow.
The whole dinner break. And luckily my guys were able to follow him,
Oh, that's cool.
But that shows he was a good guy. He cared about these extras. Being an extra is a drag.
Yeah.
You're just.
I've been there. I know they tell you never to admit that, but But I've been
Been
an
there,
extra on
done
a few
that too,
movies here in
Rory.
Florida.
Oh man,
Yep.
it's got to be hard, man. You see
I'll
them and
tell
I
ya.
liked it.
The best time I had was the first time, and that was I was doing a movie called Brenda Starr with
oh,
Brooke Shields. Timothy Dalton had just found out he had just left before we got there because he
Yeah.
had found out he got the James Bond role.
ooh,
So that tells you what time this was. This is back in the the late 80s.
uh-huh.
So the scene in question that we were in, that we shot for a week in Jacksonville, Florida, was a circus scene where Brenda Starr stumbles into a circus,
Yeah,
and they had Jeffrey Tambor was there. He was one of the villains.
he's great.
Yeah, he's wonderful, and he was very thin in that. He was very tall and thin in that.
Yeah.
He'd gained a lot of weight after that.
I love Barry Sanders.
Yeah. Gregory Peck's son, Tony Peck, was the lead in the film. He plays the illustrator of Brenda Starr, who actually falls into his comic book somehow. I can't even remember how that happened in the movie, but he ends up becoming, part of the comic book.
He was one of the little peckers.
And I learned so much about the film industry that week because we had a whole week to do, and it was a lot of fun. And then every time since then, it was just, like you said, it was just waiting around, and and you're in costume and you're just waiting around, and every now and again you get to go to craft services, and it's just a lot of waiting, really.
One of the saddest things regarding extras that I ever saw, I did another movie called The Doors.
Okay. Yeah.
And when it came time for the meal, they had you form two lines, one for the actors,
Oh, geez.
was for the extras, and we were separated by a rope. So we're walking, and the thing is that don't talk to the extras. They'll make you tired. They'll billion questions. Who is your agent and all this shit.
Yeah.
So I felt it was very snobbish, but I understood the intelligence behind. Anyway, so I'm standing.
Filet mignon, you guys get a lunchbox.
Yeah, you get a white box with a shitty sandwich. So anyway, all of a sudden, from the other side of the rope, some guy says, Hey, Billy. I look over and he says, It's me. It's Gary Puckett. And I said, Oh, how sad.
Oh, man.
I said, That's Gary Puckett, man. He made a bunch of hit records.
And he's in the extras line?
He's a fucking extra.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it just really made me sad for the rest of the day.
What did he make, $50 that day?
Whatever they were paying him.
No, if you're in the Screen Actors Guild, you get paid pretty well, and
Yeah, but extras aren't in the Screen Actors Guild. That's the whole idea.
no, yeah, they are. They have to buy. They have to buy law.
Now, but back in the day, yeah, here in Florida, they weren't. We made $50 a day.
Yeah.
If you got bumped up to actor status, then you could join SAG and you can make like $800 a day or better, depending on the role.
Exactly. Yeah, you could make a lot of money doing that.
Yeah, extras, and just for the window dressing in the background. Yeah, they made $50.
Well, and the saddest thing is what they call them. They call them atmosphere. They don't even. Yeah,
and we actually had two guys that had to bail out on like the third day. They said, "Oh, we have to go back to our jobs or something," and they found two guys that looked almost identical to these guys. I mean, it was no thing, and they dressed them up in the same costumes, and you would never know that these guys were
casting agents have. The casting agents have books and pages of people that they just call you.
Yeah,
I used to do that, but I made good money. I did. I made a couple $1,000.
Oh, there are people that make a living at it, but they tell you if you do that, that's it. You're never going to get a major role in anything because you've been branded as an extra. But you can make a living being an extra in LA.
And some people are very satisfied with that. In the same movie, we had a big scene where at the Olympic Auditorium, it's the scene where Jim Morrison exposes himself.
Okay.
Wow.
And and you know, like every third person you see in that scene, if you can't really notice it, is a cardboard person. And what they did for extras, they went up to Hollywood Boulevard, and every scummy, like hippie looking character, you know, dope addicts, and they brought them in there, you know, paid them $40, you know, whatever, and a lunch.
Right. And again, a
And-
box lunch.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the guys, and I always make friends with the crew, you know, because I like those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the crew guys said, man, at the end of the day, man, we found like needles and condoms
Jeez.
up in the bleachers, you know, where the people were sitting. Oh my God. Yeah.
Wow.
Man, oh man.
I enjoyed it. I met cool people. I met cool cameramen. I learned, like, I liked being behind the scenes. I liked, you know, meeting the sound hangout. I used to hang out with the sound guys and the, you know,
Well,
it's the whole thing. And I just always enjoyed it. I met cool people, and once in a while the actress would talk to me and say hi and where you're from. And like, I met some cool ones, and some that just, like you said, they probably told not to talk to anyone. So,
yeah.
but
No, you're smart. You treated it as a learning experience, you know, which is the only way to really do that.
I enjoy it. I think I want to do it. I want to do it again. Like, I feel like it's a good retirement job, you know, because you could just say yes or no, that, you know, to the gig.
Well, you know, a lot of retirees actually do that, and
Exactly.
it gets them out of the house.
It's fun. They feed you. It's good. They pay you. They feed you. They do your hair and makeup.
They make friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You make friends.
Yes.
Yeah. I made a couple of good friends when I did extras work and
Yeah, sure.
in movies.
And it's
Well-
a good way to start. You got to start somewhere anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But again, you can't tell them.
You can't
If
tell.
you get an audition, you can't tell them you're an extra. Otherwise, like, oh, extra. Put them in this file. You know? So on my first acting resume, I put the movies down that I was an extra in, but I came up with a character name for each for each extra role.
Yeah, they never look anyway, I'm sure.
I like it.
But
Well,
I actually got a tip off from an agent as to where they were
Oh.
going to be shooting in the Keys, the James Bond movie,
Ooh.
License to Kill. It was called License Revoked at the time. And so I actually got to meet Timothy Dalton 2 years later when I went on set for that. And I went with a bag with posters and stuff in it to sign. He will not sign a poster or something like that, or a picture. You got to give him a business card. He'll sign the back of a business card.
Wow.
Wow.
So I learned that from one of the guys I became friends with who was on the set there. And I was just hanging out, you know, watching them shoot. I wasn't an extra in it, although it went on my resume as an extra because I had pictures to show I was there. But I met the director. He did like 5 of the James Bond films, John Glenn. I met Robert Davi, who was the villain in the movie. He was a lot of fun. Got a great picture with him. I met Dalton real quick when he was on his way to his trailer. I had him sign an autograph. And Robert Brown, who played M. He was the second guy to play M. He was there. And it was at the Hemingway House. They were filming at the Hemingway House.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
I want to go up
That
to
was a
see
good time.
Billy at Vibrato. Is it Vibrato?
We played there about a week and a half ago. What a great place.
No.
I do the big band up there.
Already come and gone.
Yeah, come and gone. We
But you'll
had
probably be back there soon again, you know.
oh yeah, Priscilla Presley was there. Frida Payne was there.
But can I buy tickets online and drive up there, or like where can I find your next venue, or next time you're up there?
well, I don't know when. Well, yeah, you just what I always do is I always post a flyer wherever we're going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, you're on Facebook, so you know.
Yeah. So I
And-
just
and
look on Facebook and I can find you when you're playing at vibrato.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you
They'll,
said you got 2 gigs coming up on close to your birthday, right?
right.
So you might want to re-say those to the people that are watching.
Yeah.
And
The 25th of May is at the Write-Off Room, and the 26th of May is at Spaghettini in Seal Beach.
So
mm,
these are both LA area.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of what, and then I go to Italy in July.
Yeah.
I would normally in June, I would go back to my high school in White Plains, but the guy's not going to do it until December. I'm not too happy about that because I don't like to go to New York in the cold weather.
Oy.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I wanted to ask you this earlier. While you're in Italy, are you going to plan any side trips to anything special, or
I'm
excuse me.
going to play it by the proverbial ear,
Yeah,
you know, see what's over there. Another high school friend of mine, another Sicilian,
Yeah.
he's going to go there, and he speaks the language, and he's really a very well traveled guy. So
Mm.
he's a good guy to be with. You know, he's braver than I am. You know, so
when I took my daughter there a couple of years ago, we went to Rome because I wanted her to see Rome, and I said, "Okay, where do you want to go from here? We've got a day or a day and a half, 2 days. Where do you want to go?" And I was hoping she would say Venice. And she goes, "I want to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa."
great.
so we went to Pisa. I had a guy just sting me big time for exchanging money, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, she took the gag photos where she's holding up the Leaning Tower and everything, you know.
Got to do that.
So we did that. But I definitely want to go back and see Venice again, and I want to see Florence again. Just so much there. It's so beautiful there.
That's what I'm told. I can't wait. I'm really excited about it.
Well, Billy, will you come back on my show after maybe in August? I'll arrange with you after the show.
I don't think I ever
if
want to
you're-
come back.
Come on, please.
Hey, you already told the Bob Dylan story now.
Yeah. What do I have left after? How do I?
We want to hear about Italy when you get back. We want to hear about your trip. We've never been there, so we'll have to live vicariously through you.
Then I can come back and act like I know what I'm talking about.
Well, we could have you live stream from Italy to Cosmos too. You could do that.
God. That'd be wild. Jesus.
All right. Well,
Hi, it's
happy
6:30 in
birthday.
the morning here.
Thank you.
I'll be talking to you before. Hopefully, I'll talk to you before that, and definitely
thank
after the show.
to your party.
Thank you for coming, Billy. It's such an honor. Thanks, Rory. I'm glad you got here safely too. And
Glad I made
everybody
it.
go follow Billy.
At least for the last half.
What? Oh, I was
I
gonna
said,
close
glad
it
I
out
made
with this
at least
video.
for the last half.
Yes. You made it. And then I'm gonna close it out with this video. So thanks, Billy. We love you. Thank you, Rory. Thank you everybody for watching. And replay people. Thank you. Go follow Billy. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
That's wild. That's